Hey Colin, how you doing?
Hey Scotty, how's it going? Good to see you.
You too. Man, looks like you have a little more sunlight than me. I had to turn on a couple of lights because it's dark not dark, but it's gloomy for me.
It's kind of gloomy here too. I'm up in San Francisco right now, so we got the Bay Area fog definitely
Yeah.
rolling through. It's also earlier in the morning, so it's
I think
definitely
was
sunny.
it 4 or 5 years ago, didn't someone create a Twitter account and name the fog something like Tim, right?
Yeah, Tim or Gary or something. I think it might have been Tim. Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
that.
I remember thinking it's such a nonchalant name, and you're just like, well, true, the fog is so nonchalant.
Yeah, it's just always here.
Oh man. Yeah, that's how it is. But um so we posted on Discord and all that. And um, so hang on, we're just gonna wait a bit because I just want to make sure that Hacking C State got the link and all that.
Yeah, no
Because
problem. How's it been going? How was yesterday?
hiring, we had 6 sessions yesterday.
Nice,
Yeah,
nice.
I mean it was great. Don't get me wrong, but
Yeah.
it was one of those after the sixth, I was like, man, I feel like if you told me to play basketball for 6 hours, I wouldn't be this tired. So, everyone's just built differently. And
I feel like it's a good fatigue though, because you're like you feel very accomplished after you just do that for 6 hours. Like you just had six sessions of some really cool talks, probably.
yeah, and we also had a couple workshops, so I feel like I learned some stuff. So it's like, oh, okay, wow. And
Nice.
I mean that's the whole point. I started doing this stuff in general just to kind of learn a bit. But yeah, we'll probably get started soon. Yeah, because I guess I already emailed the YouTube link, as well as I already posted in the Zoom chat and our Discord. I'm guessing NC State already posted there. Um, so just making sure everyone
Yeah, cool, no problem.
know. Okay, so let me just pull up the questions and all that. Real quick, do you want me to put your notes in the Zoom chat as well, or
Um,
it's up to you?
I think I'm all right. I don't think I need to do that necessarily.
All right, good stuff. So yeah, like I said, the question I'm putting in, I mean, I already saw that your notes said that you're kind of going to answer a few of these already, but it's more just, you know, kind of quick and easy glance. Oh, okay, that one's been answered, or okay, let's ask that one. But same thing, we kind of build off what you say. So,
Yeah.
um, okay, I guess let's go ahead and actually then send one more text just to let them know for sure that we're starting, and then we'll get going. Okay, all right. So welcome everyone from HackDW3C and Hack NC State. As opposed to yesterday's videos, it was just one hackathon, but Hack NC State in Raleigh, North Carolina, they've started now. So we're excited to make this a joint event. And obviously, Hack NC State, hope you're eating and you're enjoying your lunch. Colin, thank you for waking up probably during your breakfast because you're in California. Anyone who was watching earlier already knows we were talking about the fog in San Francisco named Tim. I
Yep.
guess I don't know if Tim can say hi, but Colin, why don't you say hi, introduce yourself a bit?
Hey everyone, I'm Colin. I'm a recent graduate from USC. I majored in cognitive science and data science, and I have a specialization in blockchain technology.
All right. Yeah, thank you for joining us. So just kind of to, make sure all the participants are following along why we have this talk. Part of it is because Hacking NC State is focusing on environmental, but Some of them may be building Web3 projects. Especially if they roll into HackDW3C. And one of our major sponsors, Hedera, they're offering a corporate challenge focusing on the tokenization of, well, not necessarily just tokenization, but reducing carbon footprints, where tokenization, that's something I'll be talking about later. But just in general, environmental Web3, it makes it a very natural transition for Hack NC State participants to build their Web3 projects and then add Web3. So this talk is a little different from the on-site talks in Raleigh, but we want to make sure that everyone, while you're eating lunch, while you're enjoying lunch, you're able to follow along and enjoy, finding out a little bit more of what you might be able to do today, but definitely over the next 2 weeks. So, Colin, I guess since you prepared a bit of a solo talk, let's go ahead and jump into that.
Yeah, definitely. I'm really happy to be here, and I'm very thankful you guys invited me. I think it's really great. I'm super excited to see that there's more initiatives being created to educate students kind of breaking into the Web3 ecosystem. So I'm sure if you've watched the news lately, you kind of understand that Web3 and blockchain is going through some major changes. There's more regulatory battles, macroeconomic changes, and really a fight for legitimacy with both the public perception and the governmental recognition of crypto. And this can ultimately be pretty scary, but I think all new industries sort of go through these periods of trial and error. So when a new innovative technology comes along, the first reaction is typically resistance. And blockchain and Web3 really do provide incredible new avenues to kind of secure your digital identity, financial assets, and are ultimately preparing us for this more digital future. But I believe that future is not fully here yet. I actually believe we're in a state of making this technology go from a toy to a viable or disruptive tech. What I mean by that is new things tend to sneak by the public because oftentimes the next big thing starts out being dismissed as a toy. And Chris Dixon of A16Z talks about how this is one of the main insights of Clay Christensen's disruptive or innovative technology theory. And this theory simply observes that technologies tend to get better at a faster rate than users' needs increase. So like, for example, the first telephone only carried voices a mile or two. And a lot of leading companies at the time passed on using a phone at all because they just didn't see how it could possibly be useful to businesses or railroads, which were their main customers. But what they failed to anticipate was how rapidly the telephone technology and infrastructure would actually improve. So I believe we're in a similar spot with the blockchain. Our needs are not heavily improved by blockchain at the current moment, but it's going to greatly continue to affect the needs of tomorrow. And really with the rise in AI tooling and banking uncertainty, digital verification and financial security are becoming more and more vital. And the blockchain's main use cases are really just that. So I first recognized this in 2015, 2016, when I bought my first Bitcoin in the most like sketchy way possible, like on Binance or something. And again in 2020 when I minted my first NFT, again in just not the most legitimate way. In 2015, crypto really seemed to be in just a neat way to like send money without a bank. And same thing in 2021, NFTs were kind of a cool way to distribute digital art. The hard use cases were not fully there yet. So I dove headfirst into the Web3 space by starting an NFT project focused on art and mental health, coming out of the pandemic and entering a more digital world. Our nation felt like it was in a time of sort of mental turmoil, and I wanted to do whatever I could to help that. So I teamed up with a friend of mine at USC, he's a fine artist named Max Dresner, and we created a brand called Tweak Labs. The idea behind it is that we're all tweaks, meaning we all struggle with our own insecurities, and that's really okay. We want people to accept themselves for who they are. So we started minting digital art. We started creating collectibles around this notion of a tweak. Since then, we've expanded the brand into fashion, innovative tech, and continually provided a safe space for people to come together online and around Southern California, really. So at first, that sort of seemed like a toy, just cool collectibles and fun art, right? But now it's really a thriving community where people gather on the internet and in person and feel safe enough to talk about their problems and just bond over some really great art. From this, I learned a lot about what it takes to launch NFT projects and how difficult it can actually be. I also learned a lot about building a community and more just about the inner workings of this new technology. And then I took a few classes actually in blockchain tech at USC. So I was the first year, or my semester was the first semester you're actually able to graduate with a minor or a specialization in blockchain technology. So I took advantage of that and just used the resources around USC to improve my knowledge as much as possible. And in early 2022 or so, I started consulting for some other projects, such as a legacy animation studio with the goal to create a decentralized studio led by the community. And I also started working on another project in January of last year called the Knights Who Say Nah, where we're using the blockchain for a really, yeah, it's a pun on Monty Python and the Holy Grail, the Knights Who Say Knee, if you've seen it. We're really using the blockchain for a fascinating use case. We're digitizing the largest private collection of arms and armor in the world, and we're minting them as NFTs. So it sounds crazy, but we have access to over 6,000 ancient artifacts like swords, helmets, arms and armor. And we're basically making 3D models of them using this process called photogrammetry. So we basically stand these artifacts up. We take hundreds of photos of it at every angle, and then we throw it into a software, and we end up with this 8K, really high res digital model of these artifacts. And the reason we're doing this is to really provide provenance in an industry where there's a lot of stolen artifacts, there's fakes, and many just have unknown origins. So we're literally trying to digitize history with this. These relics tend to decay over time, but on the blockchain, they really do exist forever. And again, the current status of these NFT digital models might seem like a toy or a novelty, but I really do believe that there's going to be some version or feature for digital artifacts in most museums in the near future. We're really using this technology with this specific project for its best features being immutability and endlessness. So as we move to a more digital world, blockchain really is ensuring digital identity and ownership. And I believe, especially with AI technology becoming a mainstay, we need ways to verify assets, creations, and identities of both humans and artificial intelligence. I think AI and blockchain will go hand in hand to help automate many processes for humans, but maintain the human or robotic integrity of the creation. And my advice for those starting out in the Web3 space is to constantly just stay curious. When a new product, feature, or idea crosses your path, don't immediately neglect it because it might look silly. Take the time to learn about it and understand. The more you become aware of the field as a whole, the more you'll really be able to contribute. Some of the best projects that I've been involved with have the wackiest names about food, animals, whatever, sushi swap, pancake swap. The space is crazy with the naming. So additionally, the best thing you can do is find a problem or something you're passionate about and learn how blockchain technology could possibly improve it. And it might not be able to. For example, if you're working part-time as a waiter while you're in school, how can you take people's orders digitally on a ledger to ensure they aren't placed improperly. Maybe there isn't a solution there, but maybe there is, and you won't really know until you do a little bit of digging. So I would just encourage you to stay curious. And lastly, I just want to say that this space sometimes can be viewed negatively for a lot of the wrong reasons, but in actuality, this is a very small sector of blockchain, Web3, crypto, NFTs. Every industry is really filled with fraudsters or malicious actors trying to exploit the tech, but that doesn't mean the technology itself is evil. The technology is not malicious. It is the way that people use it that makes it malicious. So I'd really just say to be the positive force in a young space that you would like to see, show the people how you can use this tech for good within your communities, like supporting mental health or digitizing history.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Colin. One thing that flashed through my mind when you were talking about nice who say nah, aside from the Monty Python reference, I was actually thinking about so my family's from Taipei originally, and I've been to the National Palace Museum there. And I'm always disappointed when I find out something I want to see isn't on display because they have millions of artifacts from 4,000 or 5,000 years of history. And then, I'll ask someone, hey, I'm coming back from the US. Do you know when something will be on display? And then they go talk to someone, oh, it'll be, 4 years from now. I'm thinking, oh, 4 years, what? And when, the stuff you're talking about, I was thinking the amazing thing is at some point we could actually say, okay, yes, you're not going to see the physical thing in 4 years. Partly one, it's on rotation with here's a million other things getting rotated in now. Two, someone's doing some research. They've reserved it. They're a big enough name to where they get it for the next 4 years. So I'm sorry, you're not going to see it. But then three, hey, how about here's a version, a digital version. You can go and, because I'm not necessarily going to I don't need the physical one. I just want to see what it looks like. I just want to read about it. I just want to kind of get a sense of how big is it, because I'm not an expert. But then if there's a version available for me to engage as I'm not trying to sound fancy, but I guess a patron, I don't know what to call it if I buy it.
Yeah, that's what it would be. Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, I'm like a $5 patron as opposed to, like a patron of the arts, but I can at least engage with that rather than just, oh, here's the physical thing, but then I'm paranoid I'm going to destroy history in my own hands.
Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, we come in contact with these really cool artifacts that are just kind of hidden a lot of the times and not able to be seen, especially during like the pandemic when you couldn't really go into museums. There wasn't really a way to view these things. And now, like every day, this technology gets better and better to view 3D items in like a digital museum almost. We actually have an NFT that acts as a digital gallery where we can actually go in and put other NFTs up. So we have this little digital gallery where you can go in on your computer. It's on our website or with like a VR headset, and you can walk around and like really get close to these katanas. And we have a full set of samurai armor that's digitized. So it's really just providing another way to like learn and understand this whole field of ancient artifacts.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, talking about your other major project, I guess it's more a company. I mean, I guess as a project became a company, but talking about Tweak Labs, I kind of want to talk more about a little bit more the social side. You're saying, it's kind of a safe space for everyone. I didn't grow up in California, but for you being from the Bay Area and then going to school at USC, being in SoCal, I guess I just always thought, it was relatively safe, kind of, for people trying to explore all that stuff, because that's where a lot of these garage startups became Apple, right? For example. And then I guess what you're talking about, it sounds like there's still a lot of experimenting going on with a lot of different things. And I guess that's kind of where you're saying, all right, here's where, here's a tweak. And whether they're just socially awkward or it's just people just don't understand their idea. I guess, is that kind of what you're going for?
Yeah, I mean, in In a way, yeah, it's more of just like when I say safe place or safe space, I mean like we're here and we're accepting of anyone. You're like anyone is welcome to come to our community and hang out. And it really started with like on campus at USC, we kind of had this mini little community that started getting into NFTs, and a lot of it was through the NFTs me and my friend Max were creating, which were the tweaks. And it sort of just sparked this in-person space to start, where a lot of us were just exploring this technology and had the notion of like mental health awareness behind it. Especially like I said, coming out of the pandemic, I feel like that was a big issue, and it still really is. So even just raising awareness around all of that is really important for us and for everyone like kind of our age and in school and younger. So that's really the main goal with it being a safe space. And then it just kind of proliferated onto the internet, where we now have this community around art, fashion, really cool technology, and just like hanging out online. We've done events in New York, we've done events in Southern California, and it's sort of just built this dual-edged community because you own this NFT. And it seems like silly at first, but it really kind of enables people to come together. And a lot of these NFTs are like inspired by our friends in real life and whatnot. So it's funny like to see that these stories actually, they're like a lot of them are about our friends, but then they resonate with people on the internet, and like they can connect with, oh, this person's anxious or this person lost someone, those types of things. And now we can talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would say it seems like one of the great, or I guess, well, I guess I'm not sure how to phrase it, but basically the what you're doing with both is great in that you're already creating a lot of long-term impact. But I could see how it could merge or expand for even more. So I guess for you, what do you think? What do you think are some things that long-term goals? First of all, let's talk about long-term goals. What do you have in mind beyond what you've already described?
Yeah. I mean, just in general, long-term goals, I just would like to do whatever I can to help push this space forward as an entirety in the most positive way possible, whether it's through these projects or it's through other projects, or it is just simply me helping where I can. I really think like this technology can do a lot of good for a lot of people. And my main goal is to just get it in as many hands of as many people as we can. I've onboarded my grandma, my mom, like everyone I can. I'm just like, come just try it out, experience it, and learn a little bit about it, because it's here to stay. And with these other, more specifically with the nights and with the tweaks, it's specifically with the nights, I think we have a very interesting niche use case that ideally we can take to different museums, such as the Met or the Art Institute of Chicago that we've worked with a little bit, and actually show them, hey, we can help you digitize your collections and put them on the internet for more people to see. It provides you new revenue streams. It could provide you different ways to verify your objects, even going so far as taking a 3D model of one of these swords and then 3D printing it so that visually impaired people can go up and like feel the artifact when they're in the museum. There's a lot of very interesting, unique use cases with this stuff, with this technology that these artifacts can benefit from. And same with just digital communities. I mean, I think with both projects, really, we're creating online communities of internet friends. And I'm sure most of us speak with a lot of our friends solely through online, for many hours of the day. And as we're going into this more and more digital world, I think these NFTs and Web3 and crypto can just help us kind of come together in unique ways digitally. and really provide some sort of identity to your online self and in-person self too.
I just realized I literally just now learned something from you because so when I heard about people talking about digital real estate, I was thinking, I don't get it. Literally, I can just walk back that way and make some food right now. So what would I be doing with digital space? But the stuff you're talking about, I literally just realized if I can't go see a museum in Taiwan right now, if I can't go visit the Forbidden Palace in Beijing, I've been to the British Museum, the Louvre. I don't know how to speak French, so I'm probably saying it wrong, but I don't think I've ever been in the Met, although I've been in New York City multiple times. But if I want to visit, I can do that. But how do I keep that stuff running? And what you're saying, I'm realizing is this is where you can say, all right, rather than I have to fly somewhere, get a hotel, all this stuff, and then pay, say, $25. It could be, all right, maybe you pay $25 and from home, maybe with a VR headset, maybe just, just kind of like those 80s games where you just kind of click through, go left, go forward, whatever. But kind of saying, all right, it's not so much that you're paying for access anymore, it's you're paying to maintain it so you can come back. Other people can start enjoying it if they're from some say mountain town, they don't have an airport within 3 hours. It becomes much more accessible. And it's not so much, oh, I own this, but it's more I can control the access. And of course, then we'll have other discussions about gatekeeping, but then it's kind of like if I have to drive 3 hours to an airport, fly to a small or bigger airport, fly to New York City, get a hotel, that's also kind of gatekeeping more in a physical sense. So in this way, it's kind of saying, let's break down the physical barriers. And then if we're saying, hey, from small rural towns, we'll give you free access, or students, you're going to get a discount or whatever. I'm just now realizing that's what they're talking about, because the whole time I'm like, well, I can't physically go somewhere and make digital food to eat, but it's like, oh, that's what it's about. Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, exactly. Yes, I also think like these both in a strictly digital sense, it's really cool to potentially be able to go online and like view these things. Like maybe there's a full 3D model of the Met itself, and you can literally like walk around in there on your computer. In addition to that sort of thing, I think this like tech and NFTs and Web3 can benefit both like in person, like this hybrid model type of thing, where it's maybe if you pay $10, you can have all of these different AR models sitting in front of you, and like you can point your phone at it and it's like there's a massive sword or body of armor that you can interact with right in front of you. So it's like more than just trying to like escape the current reality, or not escape the current reality, but go into a different reality, which would be like virtual. This technology can really like help change what's right in front of you for the better. And I think that's just going to become more and more actually usable than just an AR model in front of you. And it really just provides like new ways to experience anything, really. It's kind of just globalizing all sorts of different technology and art and culture, because now you can view it from anywhere.
Yeah. Because in 2013, I went to visit Mongolia. I wanted to just see what it was like, living kind of like a nomadic life. And that's when I was inspired to start doing mobile stuff, and I ended up doing iOS because I realized at the time mobile technology was probably the closest that we would ever have to teleporting. I've always thought if I could have a superpower, it would be teleporting, because I don't need to be invisible, I don't need to fly. If I can teleport, then I could be anywhere. But then the stuff you're talking about, I'm thinking, wait, maybe this is the next phase that I've been trying to figure out what I do next. Because, rather than trying to go somewhere physically, rather than connecting with something or somewhere or someone, through phones or whatever. Now, in this case, is maybe, all right, it's just right here.
You're bringing it to you.
Bring it to the person directly. So yeah, I feel like I'm suddenly seeing so many major implications for education, right? Rather than physical classrooms, whether it's building communities like you talked about. There are so many friendships and relationships exist now, and they've never met in person.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Um,
mean, like this, it's not like a new concept either. Like, I feel like a lot of us, like people my age, like grew up like playing Xbox or PlayStation just with random people on the online. Like you'd hop into a game and play with them online and you're talking to them and slowly you become friends with them. And like now, like this stuff is just kind of enabling a way to like make that friendship a bit more official, I guess. And community is sort of an intangible that's hard to like put a value on, but and that's part of the reason why I think a lot of people take like NFTs or the Bored Apes or something like that is sort of as a joke, because it's hard to physically see this isn't necessarily providing like a real hard utility, but the use case for it is like you're part of this community of tweaks or apes or crypto punks. And that means something to a lot of people. And I think that's like going to become more and more relevant as we just these two worlds, both digital and physical, just continue to blend in like every way possible.
yeah. Yeah, and I think before we go into the last question, I think it's kind of important to point out, kind of going back to very early what you said, but also tying what you said just now. Um, a lot of things that we think are new actually have happened conceptually. They just look different because we're saying, oh, what about blockchain? One speaker yesterday brought up that on the island of Yap in Micronesia, they had these massive rocks where they would actually carve
Yeah,
onto it who owned it, and that's blockchain, just a physical version.
literally a
Yeah,
block.
and then yeah, we talk about, what cryptocurrency, how will it evolve, if it will evolve. And a lot of people don't know this, but um, everyone is aware that China invented paper money. But what people don't know is it took 2, 3 dynasties to figure that out. And for a long time, it was limited to official use in one province and then local use in another province, only because those two provinces were major printing centers. So back in the 7, 8, 900s, you had people already saying, why am I walking around with a bunch of metal circles? Just use
Yeah,
paper rectangles. But then how do you print it in a way that's not counterfeited and you collapse the local economy? And then for us, eventually FDIC, right? 1929, the stock market crash, right? Getting off the gold standard, even recently, inflation, all that. All these things, these things are happening to I guess currency mediums that we're familiar with. And yeah, crypto is going through a rough patch right now. We're not going to deny that, but it's not the first time a form of currency went through a rough
yeah.
patch.
Yeah, I
And
mean it's kind of
yeah,
necessary, right? Like
yeah.
it really does show you what's not going well with it and allows you to fix it. So I honestly think that like rough patches in a financial sense, they don't feel great in the moment, but I do think like long run, it's kind of necessary to get more clarity of okay, is what is all of this stuff?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think we're in the phase of figuring out the 1,000 ways to not build a light bulb, basically.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a very
Oh,
good way to put it.
yeah. Uh, so going into the last question, all the stuff that you've talked about, you've talked about your long-term goals, and we've touched on how you want to impact others, but I guess kind of more on a personal level, I guess the individuals that the people that you're directly mentoring, how would you like to impact those people?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think like I said, sort of at the end of my little talk, I think the biggest thing that you can benefit from being in this space is just curiosity. So when I try to onboard people or help someone get into the space, rather than just trying to throw all this information at them and just say, hey, you need to understand this, you need to understand hash rates and solidity and all these different things. I'd rather just instill a like spirit of curiosity and excitement about this technology. I think if I can walk away and like say, hey, yeah, I just got that person to be excited about this NFT, then that's like a huge win for me, because I think going forward, that's one of the biggest necessities for making this space last and become something that's more than just like a side niche market. And so I guess the biggest thing that I'd like to impact people with when I'm working with them directly or indirectly is just framing a mindset of this technology could really change a lot of what we do for the better, and you should get excited about it. And that's it sounds simple, but I think the friends that I've gotten into the space that have since become very excited about it and really like picked up in that that was that like understanding moment. We're like, oh wow, this makes a lot of sense. Those people still are involved in NFTs or crypto or Web3 in some way in their everyday life. And I think that the more people we can get to just simply enjoy this tech, the better.
Yeah, thank you for that. I'm sure for all the Hack NC State participants, they're NC State students, engineering school, I'm sure they're excited to hear that, the stuff you're talking about. There's a lot more out there than just what they're doing right now. There's a lot of expansion opportunities for them. And for HackDW3C, we're already talking about Web3. So, I think it's great. Everyone's hearing from someone who's been in this space for 7-8 years. Whether you're brand new to this, you had a starting point and they're having theirs, or if someone's already a little more experienced, just hearing a different perspective. And even for someone like me being like, wow, I just made a connection in my mind, it is literally an epiphany. And
yeah,
so, yeah, I really appreciate you coming on, Colin. Shout out to your grandmother. Shout out to,
she owns a few NFTs. She owns some tweaks.
yeah. That's great. Maybe we'll get your grandmother on for a talk at some point. So
she'll be an expert hopefully soon. Yeah.
It's just got to have that learning spirit. So everyone who has questions, definitely feel free to send it to us in either Discord, HackDW3C's Discord or Hack NC State's Discord, and we can direct them to Colin, or if Colin joins them, he can answer them himself. Otherwise, definitely check out Tweak Labs, where he is one of the co-founders, and Knights Who Say Nah, where he is the blockchain strategist and community lead.
Yep.
Yeah.
So technically a co-founder, but yeah,
okay.
A specific role with that one. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. And then if anyone else, if anyone wants to connect any further, we also have Colin's LinkedIn. It's on our HackDW3C schedule, and we'll also include that in the video description below. So anything, Tweak Labs, Knights Who Say Nah, his LinkedIn, you can connect with him in that way. And yeah, we hope everyone enjoyed this talk, and Hack NC State, enjoy the rest of your lunch. Good luck with everything, and we will see you in a few hours for our next talk. Colin, thank you so much for joining us.